Signore e signori, buonasera, benvenuti alla Casa Italiana Zerilli-Marimò della New York University. My name is Stefano Albertini, I'm the director. It's a great pleasure to have the closing event of N.I.C.E, New Italian Cinema Events. As many of you probably know, N.I.C.E brought contemporary Italian cinema to New York for the past 27 years. So they're about as old as Casa Italiana is, and I think our collaboration started soon after our foundation. We are delighted that this year N.I.C.E had 3 screenings, 2 of them taking place here and 1 at the Italian Cultural Institute. Tonight's film, Taranta on the Road, just came out this past summer in Italy. And we have the fortune that is actually quite extraordinary to have not only the director, but also one of the screenwriters here with us. As we normally do, we don't say much about the film before the screening because we are going to have a discussion after. So stay around for that. The film lasts about an hour and 20 minutes. But before we begin, I would like to invite Salvatore Allocca and Amara Lakhous to the stage. So at least you meet them, and I'll introduce you to them. Here we are. Mettete sotto la spotlight. Tutti e due ci state tutti e due. Now with these lights we have to follow these lines on the floor, and if I'm not in the right spot, Julian gets really mad at me. So I'm going to introduce them formally at the end of the screening, but this is Salvatore Allocca. He's the director of the film. This is his really full-fledged first lungometraggio. And Amara Lakhous that you see here, probably some of you have met him already. He is a professor right now here in the Department of Italian Studies, and I also greet the chair of the department, David Forgash, who is here with us. And Amara was also on the stage of the Casa, I believe last year, when we spoke about his last book. It was a very, very engaging conversation. Of course, it's recorded, and if you're interested in that, you should check it out. We talked about languages, different languages, his different languages, literature, contemporary Italy, issues related to migration, and many other things. So don't go away. The film lasts about an hour and 20 minutes, and at the end, we're going to have a chance to discuss it with Salvatore and Amara. Thank you. First of all, thank you. Grazie mille per averci portato questo film.
Thank you.
It's like a breath of fresh air. And we all wanted it to end like that, and the music was enhancing the whole experience. And before we have our discussion, I just wanted to say a couple of words about the two of you. So as I mentioned, Salvatore is at his first full-fledged direction with this film, but he has done several shorts, and he was the co-director of another lungometraggio. Amara Lakhous, as I mentioned, is a writer. He's originally from Algeria. He moved to Italy, and I remember during our conversation, you mentioned that it had to do with Commedia all'Italiana. You're falling in love with Italian culture and Italian cinema at that point. And I couldn't help but thinking of many elements in this movie are reminiscent of Commedia all'Italiana. That was your first meeting with Italian culture. And he's a very prolific author of novels that are fantastic. I read them all in my marathon last year before presenting Amara, and it was a great weekend that I had with his characters. Some of them, like, let's say the first Italian phase in Rome, and now the Turin phase. Amara deliberately moved to Torino, and his latest book will be published shortly, and you wrote these originally in Arabic.
The last one?
Yes.
The
one that is about to come out, yeah.
Yeah. I think, I hope next year, yeah. I finished it in Arabic, and I'm working on an Italian version.
You rewrite it yourself in Italian, basically.
Yes.
Because more than a translation is a rewriting.
Exactly.
Correct? Mm-hmm. Very good. So, the first question is, I saw that the subject is also yours, Salvatore. So where does this idea come from? And then tell us how you brought Amara into the project.
Well, the idea comes from in 2011, when I was thinking to leave my country because I was wondering to, to find a job in another country, even.
Your country being Italy.
Yes,
Salvatore
I'm from Italy.
His family is originally from Naples, but he was born and raised in Rome.
Yes. And I was wondering, to seeking for something new, maybe in another country in Europe. And when all of these immigrants comes to Italy after Arab Springs, I felt very connected with them because they were young like me, and they wanted they are seeking for something, for something new. They did a revolution in their own country, and now they want to see another world, another opportunities, but they can't because they were born in the wrong side of Mediterranean Sea, no? While I can do that because I am in the right side. So I felt very connected with them. And I saw a picture on a Newsweek paper. This is funny because in this picture there is two young Tunisians that was just escaped from detention center for immigrants, because behind them there was a web of steel with a hole, no? Mm-hmm. And because of this new freedom that they've just achieved, they are dancing with some musicians that maybe they have just met after they escape. So that picture, suggests me an idea to a movie, to a road movie in which I can tell the story about the immigrants and also musicians, because musicians and immigrants in some matters have a lot of in common, because musicians and artists in general, it's difficult to find a job to achieve their dreams. And immigrants are looking to achieve a dream in other countries, so they have a lot in common. And this suggests me also a theme for a movie, because I can tell the pain which a lot of us, of my generation, feel when you are not able to reach your dreams, your personal goals, and maybe you will not able ever, no? For that reason you are unhappy. But it's possible to live also without achieve these dreams, because maybe life give you other opportunities. You have just to to look around and catch. So for that reason, I got the key, no? To
Did you keep this photograph from this magazine?
Yes.
You have it?
Yeah.
The photo that originated this whole story?
Yeah, it was for l'Internazionale, I guess. Yes. It was funny because this picture gave to me the right key, to tell the story about immigrants and also young like me, my generation, artists, because artists represent very well, people who is not able to. They don't have a fixed job, no. So it is very common to associate to a lot of young that are going to find their job of their dreams, something like that. So this is how the idea came out. And Amara, I involved Amara in the middle of the developing, because I wrote a first draft with my partner Emiliano Corapi. And but we mess the warm and also the reality of the two Tunisian guy, because we are not very deep inside of this reality. So I stalked Amara for a long time on Facebook.
Because you're a big fan of Amara as a writer.
Yes, big fan of Amara's book, and. Unfortunately, he said yes to collaborate with me.
So you said, people say that Facebook is good for nothing. There you go.
Yeah.
An artistic collaboration born of a fan of a writer. And Amara, tell us what was, how do you fit into the project?
Yeah, it was really a wonderful contact. So he contacted me, and he said that he is working on a project about, and he asked me to read the screenplay and give him observations. So I read the screenplay. I am, as you mentioned, Stefano, I am a big fan of Italian comedy style, la commedia italiana, and I was and I am convinced that the comedy is more effective than drama. And I saw in the screenplay that this is a comedy. So this is the first positive input. And then, so we had a meeting on Skype, and I talked to we talked about the observations, and I found Salvatore really very humble, and this is for me something very important. Because I think if you are arrogant, you can't read, you can't learn new language. Roberto, you can confirm. If you are arrogant, you can't establish good relationship. So I found in him, and he is he is 34 years old. It's very young. So, but during our discussion, I found really this maturity and this curiosity, this generosity, and so I gave him just the observations, and he contacted me. I think 1 week later, he said, "I talked with the producer and the other screenwriter, and we want to ask you to participate in this project." So then I started. My job actually was the Tunisians. So I focused on 2 Tunisians. This is the first thing. I gave them names. This is the first thing. And of course, I have good experience with immigration, because I lived in Italy for 18 years. In the beginning as a refugee, and then immigrant, and I wrote many novels about immigration. I did my research about immigration. I worked as a journalist about immigration. So we worked it was really wonderful experience. And maybe
Amara, you have to tell the people that were not here for your presentation, when you arrived in Turin, yeah, and you go to City Hall for all the documents, and they tell you have to go to the Ufficio Immigrazione. You say, no, I'm no longer an emigrante, sono italiano, I have Italian. You say, no, you have to go to the Ufficio Immigrazione.
So I moved from Rome to Turin in order to write my new novel, because I was at that time convinced that if you want to understand Italian reality today or immigration today, you have to have access to Italian memory. And I worked on Italian memory, actually. All my novels, 4 novels about Italian memory. And there is a lack of memory. Maybe David can confirm about this, because it's hard. It's hard to work on memory. This is the same the same thing for individuals and the nations. Maybe when nations it's harder. So I wanted to understand immigration in Italy today by working on Italians, immigrants in the world, and internal immigration. So from the south to the north, southerners, meridionale. So I went to Turin, and I lived in San Salvario, the main neighborhood. So I had to change my residency. So I went to the city hall to change my residency from Rome to Turin, and the woman said, "No, you have to go to Ufficio Immigrazione, immigrant office." And I said to her, "I'm Italian citizen. This is my ID, Italian, cittadino italiano." She said, "No, you have to go to the main office." So I went there, and I found Ufficio Immigrazione, and there was a line, and I saw Italians, and I understood that this is the office, and they were immigrants from Puglia, Naples. They were immigrants, and they were changing their residency like me. So this is the...
Is in Turin, that's the Immigrazione.
Yes, exactly.
Thank you, Amara. I thought it was too good to pass by. Daniela, sembri un po' perplessa. Daniela del Boc, 100% torinese, questa storia la un po'. Salvatore, this is not a criticism because doing my job of promoting Italian culture and somehow the image of Italy, Italians are awfully nice. They're kind, they're caring, they're funny. There are many Italians that are not like that. That are especially, we saw one that is on the side of the Stronzi, and it was the guy who spoke on television. But if a little observation would be, didn't you paint a too pink of a picture of what is the Italian attitude towards immigrants?
I don't understand.
Sì, ti dicevo, se
Sì.
gli rappresentanti italiani che
Sì,
sono
sì,
tutti
sì,
buoni,
sì, yeah.
invece
Yeah.
ce ne sono anche tantissimi.
Yeah, no, understand.
Pensi di aver
Okay.
dipinto un quadro troppo rosa?
No, I don't think so, because I mean the Italian guy I showed in this picture, they are very motivated to help these two Tunisians, because they are a band without chassis, so they don't have a life, because they renounce to a life, no, to achieve their dreams, but these dreams never comes true. So these two Tunisians that at their eyes have a life, also a very concrete goal to achieve, for them is a sort, it's a sort of thing that comes from the stomach and goes to outside. So for them it was very very normal to help them. So probably of course other people didn't help these guys, but they have to help.
They feel what you explained at the beginning was very clear. The same condition of uncertainty, of having to fight a lot to achieve very, very little, is something that they find that they have in common. Amara, you have had quite an experience as an immigrante in both senses in Italy. So
this is a really good question. I think there is a reality and there is a anti-reality, or I don't know how we can describe it. I lived in Italy for 18 years. And I can really say that the majority are good people. There are just minority. Unfortunately, this minority make noise, a lot of noise. And this is wonderful story that I can tell you. When I moved to Italy, shortly after, I was a student at Rome University, and I met a young Italian student in philosophy, and he was dealing with Heidegger. I'm graduated in philosophy, and I studied Heidegger in French, of course. So and he had an exam. So when I met him, we started talking, and he said, "Can you help me for the?" But he said to me one thing. He said, I am fascista. Io sono fascista. I have to tell you that I believe in fascism, and sono fascista dichiarato. And I said to him, I don't care. Because I was, I'm a writer, I have to deal with humanity and my characters. I said, I don't care about So I had him. He passed the exam in this exam for Heidegger, and we became friends. So one day, we were talking, and he said the solution is stato fascista, fascist state, and we have to throw out our immigrants. And I said to him, Luca, sono immigrato, I'm immigrant. He said to me, you are my friend. You are my friend, you are not. I don't care about if you are immigrant or not. So when we will have the fascist state, I'm going to protect you. So this is a story about knowledge and friendship, and this is the biggest paradox about immigration in Italy. This is the paradox. So in public or political debate, immigrants are depicted as criminals, they steal jobs, they represent a threat, so they are danger. But at the same time, millions, I can say millions of Italians, in order to take care of their parents, old people, and their children, they gave the keys of their houses to, we call badante, women that they take care of the. This is the paradox. So this is the maximum, really maximum of trust. This is in real life, but in political, especially in political reality, it's completely different. And the reason that because immigrants can't vote. This is the even in local elections. Even in local elections, immigrants can't. They pay taxes and they live in the city, but they can't vote. And I think if they can vote, they are probably going to change the game.
Thank you.
In the movie, this is a good question. So we are not, in Italian we say bonista. We are, the people. This is the reality. When there is a knowledge and friendship, and this is the result.
Thank you.
I
don't want to monopolize the conversation, but do you want to add something, Salvatore, about this?
I just want to quote a crisis that I let on newspaper last week about the movie. It came from a right newspaper, and they said, right-wing newspaper, and they said, "Oh, Allocca proposed a fairy tale about immigrants, where when they are going to attack us." So another public fund goes to this kind of movie.
Let's mention the name of this newspaper for its perpetual infamy.
Il Foglio.
Il Foglio.
Yeah.
Certo.
And this is very funny because our society, it is a melting pot society right now. And so this kind of blindness of politicians and some newspaper journalists is very funny because we have also second generations. So he said true. When this second generation have a usually law
if they
sign,
pass,
they change something. So for that reason, they are scared about it.
Thank you. Your questions? Yes. Sì, poi la traduciamo.
Hai detto che hai scritto questo film mentre poco hai autorizzato questo film mentre pensavi di lasciare l'Italia. E mi chiedo cosa significa questo film per te. Cioè, ora vuoi ancora lasciare l'Italia, sei qui a New York a presentarlo, hai realizzato il sogno.
The question is, you said that when you were, before making this film, you were thinking yourself of leaving your own country and try to realize your life in another country. And what has changed after this film? You're here in New York, you're presenting it. Has your dream come true, or are you still thinking about leaving?
Good question. I choose a very unconventional job, so probably for the rest of my life I'm going to ask me this question. But for now, no, I want to stay in Italy, and we'll see.
Good. We're glad you are staying in Italy.
Thank
yes?
you.
Any other question? Yes.
Just an observation. I really appreciated how each character was so fully portrayed, and yet you did it with an efficiency of language. To me, that was brilliant.
Thank you. Thank you.
Grazie.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Anybody else? I was very interested in the music. Of course, it's Taranta, it's in the title. And is it a musical genre that you have always cultivated? You started becoming familiar with it for the film? And who are the people who really played the track?
Taranta, Pizzica in general, I decided to leave this kind of music and let this music become main character of this film. Above all, because the facts that we tell are set in Apulia, so in that region that this music comes from, but also because this kind of music, as in the movie we said, is very thematic, especially for this kind of character which have a struggle to a conflict that it is not outside them. You know, they don't have a real obstacles to face with. Their enemy is their self. It is something that they have inside that let them stuck, and so and they have to face this stuck to
overcome it.
Exactly. So for that,
there is this beautiful definition that one of the band members gives of Pizzica.
Yeah.
Pizzica explained to Tunisians, like in very short, it's not only the music, it's a ritual, and it's beautiful.
Yeah, because many anthropologists studies these musics and this dance, and they found out that this spider Taranta was only an invention, just to express a pain that especially women have inside, and they can't express freedom because their society was closed. Probably they come from farmer, it's a farmer society in the 50s in Italy, so it is very difficult to say to somebody, I was raped, I was beat, and something like that. So for this kind of reason, they pretend to be crazy, and they start to dance just to get off their pains. That is, for me, this is beautiful.
And Amara, we were saying before that probably it didn't sound completely foreign to real Tunisians or to an Algerian, this whole idea of the Taranta, the trance induced by dancing and the rhythm and so on and so forth. Mm-hmm. Tell us something.
Yeah, I mean,
the two shores of the Mediterranean are much, much closer than we think.
Exactly. I spent half of my life in Algeria and the other half almost half in Italy, so I can say really there are many similarities, a lot of similarities. And Taranta, there is, of course, the name is different, but giving especially women this opportunity, this possibility to express their pain. It exists. In Algeria, I remember when I was a kid in the village of my parents, it's about in the mountains, I attended this trance.
It was
trance
with music and
yes.
And the beat of
yes.
drums. And
yes. And I mean, the idea is that the illness, if you can say illness or pain, is shared with other members of the village. It's not a problem of the family only. It's the village. They take care of this problem. Very often they are, women. In that context, depression. For many reasons, because there are very strong pressures. For example, wedding, marriages. If a woman, my mother married my father at age 16. So women, a girl at 55 is a problem. So through now it's different, of course. Now it's different. But the society of the village try to find a way to help those women. Unfortunately, this trance doesn't exist anymore, and this is very interesting about how modernity. So the villages, in the past, and there are many examples. They had knowledge, they had something, they had solutions for their problems, and with modernity, they lost these tools, and they're very, very important tools.
Yes.
Well, this is not a question, but not a question, just a comment on the casting. They were excellent. I mean, the band,
Thank you.
I don't know if they're a professional band, but you could sell their music. And you had so many different levels of, as you said, the role of women and people interacting. It was, and everything was smooth, and the photography, too, was superb.
Thank you very much. Thank you. I just want. So sorry. Can you repeat? Oh yes.
Is the soundtrack for sale, and where can we buy it if it is for sale?
I guess yes, probably on Spotify and also iTunes is possible to find the soundtrack. Yes, and if you want to know the name of the band who write and sing the songs is N.I.C.E, a music band of Apulia, and they make pizzica with the Balkanic sound and electronic mix. No, the funny thing is the singer is a gypsy, a real gypsy who play pizzica. So it's an amazing mix of culture. And the actors who play the music are just an actor. All is fake. They just make a cover of this group N.I.C.E who makes the songs for the movie. But this is cinema. It's fake.
So can you comment a little bit about the fact that it's a commedia and how it travels? Because one of the first things I noticed when I moved to New York is that I went to the movies and I was laughing when nobody was laughing, and vice versa. So first of all, how, in terms of humor, how people respond, whether it's funny or not, but also in terms of what it's admissible, what it's possible when you don't cross a line, because you're doing something that's kind of taboo or politically incorrect. So I'd like to hear your thoughts about that. I find it very interesting.
And I'm interested in both your thoughts about this, because Amara, you mentioned something.
Yeah, I mean, I'm politically correct. Is a friend of comedy, I guess. So you have just to find the right balance, between drama and comedy, and not overcome. I can suggest you the good recipe, because it probably is something that you find inside of you. But life is also a mix of drama and comedy. So I very like this kind of story, the dramedy, the dramatic comedy. So commedia all'italiana, because it was really invented in Italy after the Second World War, because we were poor, we were sad, and probably our audience doesn't want to see dramatic movie. Our director that understood that maybe can make movie, but coming from dramatic and social issues inside the comedy audience, maybe the doesn't understand that there is a drama, because it is funny. So it is the comedy is very strong tool, to let your message go and understand to a larger audience.
You're a big fan of comedy.
Oh yes.
But she's very right. We all try for the same things, and we tend to laugh from very different things.
Okay, so my decision to choose the Italian comedy style was very simple, actually. I studied philosophy in Algeria, and after 14, because I wanted to understand my society, Algerian society, rationally. I said philosophy will help me. After 4 years, I realized that the reason, because my society, Algerian society, was irrational. So we can't. And when I moved to Italy, I found the same situation, because this is It's irrational. They are so you have to use comedy and immigration. I think the best genre to narrate immigration is I wrote 4 novels, and I think I have a confirmation.
You know what I'm saying.
Yeah, yeah. This is just one thing about politically correct, and I hate this concept because I heard many racists insulting people and saying, I am against politically correct. So if you are, you have to be rude, aggressive, ignorant, and in this way you are courageous and you are against politically correct. It's about, I'm convinced about this, it's about knowledge. It's about knowledge. If you have knowledge, if you have information, good information about people, if you talk to people, you can create dialogue, and this movie is a big metaphor, really a big metaphor about immigration and the role of immigrants. And I strongly believe, I don't believe in integration. I believe in something that immigrants, I'm thinking about Italy, so Italians and immigrants can work together, can put their best assets in terms of culture, and they can create something new. When I moved to Italy, I refused this concept of integration because I said to people, I don't want to integrate myself in something bad. I would like to integrate or create a contact or dialogue with something positive. And this is, about 2 immigrants and 4 musicians. Apparently, the Italian musicians are helping to immigrants, but in reality there is an exchange of help. And this is immigration like a mirror, so you can see yourself in the mirror. And the mirror is the reflection of ourselves. So we can see ourselves in immigrants, but we are seeing ourselves in bad and positive way.
I was going to say, I agree, and as an artist myself, you were talking about young people and the immigrants associating with the musicians, how there's sort of a common thing that they want to do what they want to do and their goals and their dreams and not have a regular job. As an artist or a musician at any age, can associate with immigrants because it's the same thing. Now, all artists and musicians feel that camaraderie, that that union. So anyone, anywhere, immigrants, artists, musicians, they can feel that bond because artists and musicians, no matter where they are, even here, like in New York, as an artist, at times you feel the people you're around that are not artists, musicians, that are not creative types, you feel isolated like a immigrant. So when people of common bond, musicians, artists, people that are creative, and also people that are looking for the same dreams and goals, there can be that unity, and that can be anywhere. So it's a beautiful film that you've done. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Good. Thank you for the analysis.
And I don't think we could close with a better comment on the movie we saw tonight. So what remains to be done? Let your friends know that you saw this film. Invite them to find venues where they can see it. And Amara, of course you may.
This movie is a work team. I mean, I participate in singing and screenplay, but they are a good, big team, and we are really delighted to have with us costume designer of the movie, Maya. Okay. And she is also Salvatore's wife, but she is costume.
Thank you all for being here on this Friday night to enjoy this film and to enjoy even more the discussion with director Salvatore Allocca and co-screenwriter Amara Lakhous. Thank you very much.
you.